You ever just want to play something unholy and cursed? Personally, I certainly do. Now, normally I just play Gmod and commit crimes against humanity there, but eventually slamming ragdolls into each other gets a little bit boring. Luckily for me, the depths of Steam has plenty of unholy and cursed things to offer, and one of these ungodly things is a little game called Squirrel Stapler. Squirrel Stapler is a PS1 style hunting game made by David Szymanski. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. But he's the same guy who made Iron Lung. You know, that one game that every single horror YouTuber pogged over and that Markiplier's making a movie about? Yeah, so he's actually made more games. Surprising, I know. It was originally part of the Dread Collection 2, which from what I can tell is a collection of 12 different games, all made in 10 days, all made by different devs. The theme of the collection was Lovecrafting. What does that mean? I don't really know, and I don't think they really had a concrete definition either. I'm pretty sure they kept it intentionally vague to let the devs come up with all kinds of weird ass shit. You might even know some of the games, cause most were released separately. For example, Sucker for Love was part of it, which, for those of you who don't know, is a dating sim where Cthulhu's a hot anime girl and you try to make her fall in love with you. I haven't played the rest of the collection, but honestly it looks interesting enough that I'll probably check it out. But this video isn't about any of the other games, it's about Squirrel Stapler. So, what the fuck is this game, and is it any good? Well, I can tell you one thing, it's weird. So, we wake up on our terrible pissy mattress in our terrible pissy cabin. There's a piss bucket in the corner, and a skinless corpse hung on the wall. That rotting skinless corpse is your wife. We came here to get away from it all, so that our love might blossom. But our love has not blossomed. Look at my beloved. The flies have made her ugly and rotten. I wish she were beautiful, like the squirrels of the wood. And so I will cover her in the squirrels of the wood. This, obviously completely sane and reasonable solution to our marital issues, compels us to go outside and hunt some squirrels. On our way out, we pass our nice dining room that doesn't have a kitchen for some reason, and also the storage room with a bloody pentagram drawn in the center. There's a note floating on the pentagram, and it tells us that God really doesn't like people who staple squirrels. We, apparently, do not give a fuck that God specifically told us not to staple squirrels. Oh yeah, did I mention that God is coming in 5 days? Now, you might already be asking, what the fuck? And also, why the fuck? And if you're an especially questionable person, how the fuck? But, don't worry, we're not even to the weirdest part yet. So how do we actually hunt these squirrels? Well, with a gun, duh. We've got 5 bullets, and every time you shoot, you gotta manually reload. It's kinda weird at first, but you'll get used to it. Now then, the name of the game is Stealth. So we gotta crouch and we gotta stay out of sight. Got it? Pretty simple, right? Just crouch down and stay out of the squirrel's personal space and shoot it in the fucking face. The game will just straight up tell you if your aim is on point, so there's really not that much skill involved. A good strategy to find the squirrels I figured out is to just shoot the air, which scares off any nearby squirrels. Which sounds like a bad thing, but when you scare them, a little exclamation mark will appear where they were, and they don't run that far, so you can find them pretty quickly that way. Also, we can't jump for some reason. I guess we know how to bend our knees, but we never learned how to bend our toes. Of course, you're not alone in the forest, you're being hunted by vengeful ghost squirrels. They explode when they touch you, which does a negligible amount of damage. But if I've learned anything about hunting from playing this... Are you sure this is correct?
Yeah.
You sure we didn't mix any scripts up?
No.
Well, alrighty then, if I've learned anything from playing this educational hunting game, then it's that you gotta learn the layout of the land. So the map's kinda split into 3 areas. You've got the lowlands, the mountains, and the dark woods. There's no real difference between any of these areas gameplay-wise, they just look a little different. Your house is in one corner of the map, there's a weird outpost in the opposite corner of the map, And in the middle of the map there's a radio tower. There's also a shit ton of random structures strewn about the forest. There's some random obelisks here and there, some random patches of brown grass, some random ruins, and also this weird Stonehenge looking thing that damages you if you stand in the middle. No, there's nothing more important here. It's just here for some reason. Now, these weird ass structures aren't completely useless. You'll find ammo and health refills which don't disappear after you use them. So, say that you've just healed and then you're punched in the face by a ghost squirrel which then explodes. You can just immediately turn around and heal yourself again. I feel like it would make more sense if the refills disappeared after you use them. It's not like they're in short supply. You'll also occasionally find energy drinks. Now, I don't know if it's the smartest idea to drink this stuff, not just because it's got the consistency of battery acid, or because it increases your risk of heart disease by a pretty significant amount, but also because you just randomly found them in the middle of the woods. What if somebody already drank from it? What if they had herpes? Though, I guess you're living with and presumably fucking a skinless corpse, you probably already have a couple diseases. Anyways, the energy drinks do double your speed for 45 seconds, so I guess that makes up for all the potential risks. They're also a little harder to find than the health and ammo refills, and one of them is in that weird death circle thing.
There's also one behind your house.
Oh yeah, and there's also the Shady Shack, where you'll be... Does it do anything? No. Well, it increases your score, cause yes, you get points for collecting squirrels. Now, does the score do anything? No. Maybe there's a really obscure unlock tied to it, but I already played through this game 3 times and I didn't find anything, so I don't think there is. And there's also a bunch of random notes scattered across the woods, but we'll get to those later. Okay, now that you've learned how to hunt, and now that you've collected 5 juicy, plump squirrels, it's time to go home and... So, next morning we wake up next to our lovely, newly squirrel-covered wife and go out and hunt some more squirrels. But there's a new squirrel to hunt, the big squirrel. And you're not going to be able to hunt these normally. Instead, you grew some new vocal cords while sleeping, and you now have the ability to mimic a squirrel mating call. The big squirrels will respond, and you gotta listen where they're coming from. There's also now a double squirrel. They're grotesquely mutated squirrels, and they're worth 2 squirrels. From now on, every morning, you'll also find dead squirrels ready to be harvested on the patch of poison grass outside your house. Of course, the ghost squirrels will also become more common. You did murder a lot of squirrels after all. Anyways, with our squirrels collected, we return home. Our wifey's left a little note for us though. She's actually talking to us again, so it seems that our plan to fix our marital issues is actually working. I don't want squirrels. I want skin. Give me back my skin, or give me yours instead. Well, fuck you too then! I spend all this time outside hunting squirrels and stapling them onto your gross, putrid, skinless body, and you're not even gonna thank me? So, we go to sleep, angrily, and wake up the next day to go hunt some more squirrels. But something was scratching on the walls last night. Yep, there's something new hunting us now. This is a squirrel bear. It explodes. It's basically the same as the ghost squirrels, just bigger, and it takes more shots to kill. It honestly doesn't really make the game that much harder, and I would have liked if the game were a little harder in general, or at least it would be nice if there was a hard mode or something, cause it's honestly really easy. I literally didn't die once. Don't believe me? You literally get an achievement for dying, and it's the only one I don't have. Maybe there could have been some poison grass patches scattered through the forest that could poison you. Maybe some bear traps hidden in the grass or something. And yeah, I know I'm playing Squirrel Stapler, I shouldn't expect more than this, but the game's honestly better than it has any right to be. There's some pretty good mechanics here, I just wish it were expanded upon a little. I'll give the game this though, it is surprisingly creepy. Yeah, it's not exactly the most terrifying thing I've ever played, but there's a bunch of random creepy noises that'll play while you're hunting, ranging from normal creepy forest noises to less normal creepy forest noises. And there's also this constant rustling coming from above you that I swear got more prominent the longer I played, which makes it feel like you're constantly being hunted by something in the trees. Now, I'm 99% certain that there's nothing actually in the trees, but it sure fucking felt like it while playing. That mixed with all the weird, out of place and abandoned structures makes it feel surprisingly creepy. I definitely wouldn't say that it really scared me, but it's definitely creepier than I expected. Anyways, we go home again, and our marriage really is getting better now, cause our dear wifey has made us some dinner. Anyways, day 4 doesn't have anything interesting going on. Well, aside from this. Holy fuck, alrighty! So I'm gonna finally address all the weird-ass lore. Yeah, this game has lore. So most of the lore is told through these little notes that you'll find out in the forest and in your house. The first set of notes that you'll find are verses from the Book of the Grove, aka the Goat Bible. It, in great detail, explains how you shouldn't staple squirrels, but, well, I'm sure this couldn't possibly have any negative consequences towards us. Hell, I'm an atheist, so, you know, I don't really care what God tells me to do. The Goat Bible's also racist against lobsters for some reason. So, next up are the squirrel facts that you'll find scattered around the forest. These range from simple stuff like squirrels can eat their body weight in food every week, or squirrels can move at speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. As a European, I have no idea how fast that actually is, but I'm assuming it's fairly fast. But there's also stuff like squirrels can debone a human male in under 3 hours. And there are more squirrels than you have bullets, and you have made her very, very angry. Okay, I feel like these are less squirrel facts and more squirrel threats. So yeah, I wouldn't cite any of these in your essay. There's also 2 series of notes that you can find. The first one is The Lady, which you can find at the radio tower in the middle of the map. I'm just gonna summarize it, cause otherwise we'd be here all day. Guy buys brush, uses it to paint a lady. Brush was made of pig hair. Guy is sad. So the guy takes his painting on long sad walks until a random woman comes up to him and tells him that she can bring the painting to life for a couple shekels. He didn't paint the legs of the lady though, so she's got no legs and is bleeding to death. So she screams for a bit before the guy splits her head open with an axe. And then him and the old woman turn her into stew, but the stew was poisoned for some reason, and they both died. Art will eventually destroy the artist. The end. That's literally how it ends. The other set of notes are the reports, which you can find at this weird little building in the corner of the map. They chronicle the slow descent into insanity of some government agent guy as he's hunted by something in the woods. Dead squirrels are left at his door, and eventually he thinks that whatever's hunting him is in the walls, and that it wants his brain. But when his brain is taken, he's gonna come for us. And the final report tells us to disregard all previous reports, which is kind of a creepy way to end it off. So, do any of these notes mean anything? Probably not. Sure, they're kinda creepy, but I don't think we're supposed to take them too seriously. The final lady note literally ends with "Art will eventually destroy the artist. The end." I'm pretty sure they were just added as a fun little extra thing for you to find while doing a genocide run against all squirrels. Okay, so the final day is just like every other day, just harder. That is until we murder and gather all those juicy squirrels, at which point God is coming. You have 2 minutes to think about your actions, maybe pray a little bit, all while the squirrels are singing about how God is coming until the timer runs out. God is here now, and judging by the unholy goat screaming coming from the forest, she's not very happy with you. So that was terrifying. Yeah, this fucking oh, that was a fucking voice crack. Yeah, this fucking meme of a game randomly decides to become nightmare fuel in the last 2.5 minutes of your playthrough. I mean, it seriously does a good job of ramping up the weirdly uncomfortable feeling that the rest of the game has and cranking it up to 17. I mean, suddenly there's just a timer telling you that God is coming for those cheeks, and the payoff jump scare works pretty well. I normally hate jump scares because most of the time jump scares are used as the sole source of horror, but here it's got proper build-up, and because it's only at the very end of the game, it doesn't cheapen the tone of the rest of the game. It's surprisingly good horror for a game like this. Now, If you'll recall, the theme of the
Dreadx Collection 2
was Lovecrafting, and I think the game definitely has a bit of a Lovecraftian vibe. You really get the feeling that there's something fucked up going on in this forest, and that whatever it is, it's not supposed to be here. Which is honestly kind of the core of Lovecraftian horror, something not belonging in our world and as a result twisting the world around it. And the forest does have a bit of an off vibe, with the weird out of place noises, and the notes from the government agent guy chronicling his descent into insanity really makes it feel like there's something going on beneath the surface. And I like that nothing's really explained, that there's all this weird shit going on and it's left up to you to make any kind of sense of it. Sure, it's not anything really terrifying or super deep, but if I wanted something that really explored that stuff, I'd play Darkwood. You know, Squirrel Stapler and Darkwood are oddly similar. Both are set in dark, isolated forests, being twisted by unholy beings beyond human comprehension. Darkwood's better though. Okay, I guess I should probably also talk about the plot. I don't really think there's much of a story here, but if you helped me at gunpoint and demanded that I explain it, I'd say it's supposed to be some sort of metaphor for the main character's guilt. Presumably he's the one that murdered and skinned his wife, but remember how he talked about his wife at the start of the game? The flies have made her ugly, which I think is a sign that deep down he knows what he did, but he's trying to put the blame somewhere else. And God could either be a delusion of the hunter, or it could be real, and he's literally being divinely punished for his sins. Of course, this game probably means absolutely nothing. I don't actually think that there's supposed to be any deeper meaning. This game is called fucking Squirrel Stapler. I think it's just an excuse for memes and horror. But there is actually one more secret in the forest. There's these little geocaches hidden in the woods. Well, I say hidden, but they're literally marked on the map. You gotta find one of them every day, and if you miss one, the whole hunt is fucked. So, what do you get for hunting down all of these thingies? Do you get a cool new gun? Maybe an endless mode or something? No, it's even better. You unlock Big Squirrel mode. It's exactly what it sounds like. There's literally nothing more to it. It's kind of disappointing, but hunting down the caches was fun, so I don't mind that much. Okay, so, is Squirrel Stapler actually good? Yeah, I think so. The mechanics are surprisingly good and detailed. It's also oddly creepy, with a weirdly paranoid vibe, but it knows what it is. It definitely is in on the memes, and overall, it's pretty fun. Now, is it worth the €8? That's basically the same in dollars. I don't know. I did pretty much everything in the game and it only took 2 hours. And there isn't exactly a lot of replayability. I mean, a game like Darkwood is only €15/dollars, and that game not only has way more content, but it also has a lot more replayability. But on the other hand, Squirrel Stapler was only made in 10 games. But in the end, whether it's worth the money is up to you. Personally, I like it. It's pretty fun. And again, €8 isn't that much. I don't regret buying it, so I'd say if you don't mind the price and you've got $8 lying around, it's probably worth it. Anyways, I've got a meeting with the ungodly YouTube Copyright Council to attend, and a video to break out of copyright jail, so I gotta go.